Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Jesus loves you. So, Paul Washer says you should be afraid. If you believe in Jesus and you believe the gospel, but you're not living a holy life and you're living like the world and living for the world, you should be afraid. And guess what? A video just dropped of his wife talking about that, how she doubts her salvation and she's crying. And she's been a Christian for decades, believed in the gospel, a saved Christian it seems, because of this agony. That's proof that she's probably saved, right? But because she's under this Lordship Salvation Calvinist, teaching from her husband, she doubts her salvation and she's crying about it. And it's devastating, this video. And she tells her husband this, I'm carnal, I have if God judged me, I'm going to go to hell because I'm not good enough, right? I don't think I'm really a Christian. I'm doubting that I'm really a Christian, she says. And he says to her, after hearing that she's struggling with sin and struggling with being in the world, he says to her, I'm not sure you're a Christian either. Let's talk about devastating and sad that a preacher this popular for this long, and he was also a missionary, doesn't know the gospel and is telling his wife that and increasing her doubt. Very sad. Now, I'm nobody to comment on somebody's relationship, so I somewhat feel guilty about even talking about that. It feels a little weird, like I shouldn't be saying that, but I'm strictly talking about this for gospel purposes, to understand the true gospel. I didn't realize Paul Washer was a Lordship Salvation guy. I had heard of him before. I probably hadn't heard clips where he talked about that. I thought he was good, but I just saw a video on the channel is called Ex-Catholics for Christ, right? Good title, good message. My channel could be called Seventh-day Adventists for Christ. It's the same kind of thing. We know when we've been in this works-based religious Christian thing, we understand the free grace gospel, the true gospel. It is so freeing, and we can see how these groups and people get this wrong when they get the gospel wrong. My channel could also be called Ex-Hare Krishna for Christ, right? Again, a works-based religion. So he made this awesome video, and all his videos are about free grace. They're really good. And he made this video about Paul Washer, and it's like super sad that his wife is saying this. And she talks about how the prostitutes are walking up and down when they were on this mission trip, and then she pauses for almost 10 or 20 seconds because she's crying, and then she's crying and she says it. I realized I was no better than them, right? And what she's saying in her Lordship Calvinist mind, because he's a Calvinist, and that's what she's learning from, is because I'm not living holy, I'm no better than these prostitutes. No, the conclusion should be, yes, you're no better than those prostitutes because you're a sinner just like them. You may not be doing exactly what they're doing, but you are a sinner. Jesus told us that. Even if you have a thought, right? Negative thoughts about people, lustful thoughts, you are just as guilty as the prostitute, as if you were doing that. That's the conclusion. But because you're in Lordship, now she's putting herself down. Oh, I'm no better than a prostitute. Oh, because I'm not living holy enough. Oh, God doesn't love me. God's going to kick me away, right? That's the wrong conclusion. Oh, shoot, I just missed my exit. Hold on, guys. Sorry, guys, I'm making this video as I'm driving to work, and I just missed my exit, so I'm actually going to be a little late to work. But it's important to get the gospel out, right? So, and then it's almost like she's trying to be humble with that statement, but it actually ends up being more condemnation, but also putting yourself above those people, right? Oh, I'm no better than them. It's it's just icky, right? When this is what Lordship Salvation does to us. So then I checked out Paul Washer's videos about salvation, and wow, oh my gosh. Yeah, he's talking about if you're living for the world, if you're not living a holy life, you better be afraid because God's going to judge you. And he's talking to Christians, and he's saying, young people, if you're living for the world, why do these people obsess about this silly term called living for the world? And I realize it's in the Bible. Well, actually, it's not in the Bible. It says love of the world in the Bible. So this whole living for the world, yeah, it's not even biblical. It's silly. Paul Washer's up there preaching this stuff to people, making people doubt their own salvation. Believers who are going to heaven, who are inheriting salvation, who are saved, including his own wife, who's crying because she doesn't think she's a Christian. You know? And what is he doing that's so great? How is his life so different from everybody else's life that he's not living for the world, right? But we are. Everybody else in the world, including his own wife, is. Why? Because it's self-righteousness. He's just good at judging people and standing up there and telling them they're going to go to hell when he's not, apparently. He doesn't doubt his salvation. Why? Because he does mission trips, and he does this, and he preaches the gospel, and he's a pastor. You ever notice that it's mostly pastors who say this kind of junk? Because they're self-righteous. They're Pharisees. That is literally what Pharisees do. That's the definition of a Pharisee. They think they're justified by what they're doing. And the guy says in the video, oh yeah, no, we're saved by grace and faith only, but there's no but. That's the end of that statement. It should be and now, and should, but he says but. But if you're living in the world, if you're living for the world, then you're not really saved. And I commented in the video and said, you don't believe that you're saved by grace and faith only, because everything you said after that proves that you don't actually believe that. Right? This exposes what people really believe. Living for the world. Who is not living for the world? I was just at a Bible study yesterday when we were talking about this. And the pastor said something like that. You know, we can't live for the world, and he brought up this verse that talks about something like that, but it said love for the world, right? It doesn't say living in the world or living for the world. And I said, don't we all live for the world? We have jobs, we love our family, that's worldly, right? We all watch TV, we all do things that we like to do. We're all living for the world. So if that was a condition of salvation and you wouldn't go to heaven, none of us, including you, Paul Washer, would not be going to heaven because you live for the world. If you ever take time off, if you do anything for yourself to relax, shoot, if you take a shower or a bath, right? How is that helping God? How is that spreading the gospel or you know what I'm saying? So the point is we all live for the world. That's not a condition of salvation. You know, this Lordship Salvation stuff made more sense back in the 1800s when there were no TV. And most people could like judge their salvation by like, oh, you know, what did I do? I'm doing pretty good, you know? Dude, now we got Netflix. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we have streaming TV. Everybody watches, not everybody watches TV, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that's one example of things, right? I don't particularly watch TV. I do watch movies, but I don't have a TV. I don't have cable, really. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, like, even something simple like that, like watching TV, is that sinful? Well, what do you think? What's on our TV? Oh, I'm only watching Christian stuff. Okay, good. But some of the Christian stuff's pretty bad too. Especially the movies where there's like stories played out with people and it's like there's love interests and I mean, shoot, even that movie Jesus People had like this lustful thing in it that I was surprised to see that in the movie. I was like, this is disgusting. Why is this in the movie? Jesus says if you look at a woman with lust in your heart, you're guilty of sin. Well, if you put beautiful women in your movie and put lustful themes and have them kissing, and what are you doing but bringing people's lust up? You're tempting people to sin essentially with those movies. And even if you think it, you're guilty. The point is, guys, we're all sinners. We all sin, fall short of the glory of God. We're not supposed to sit here and doubt our salvation. Love you guys. Keep coming back. Peace.